is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, the best place for new coaches, content creators, and entrepreneurs. In today's video, let's talk about purchases, specifically purchases that I regret making in my business. This video was heavily inspired by videos like this, where people talk about their regrets when it comes to buying designer handbags or their top 5 luxury regrets. And so it really got me thinking as I was watching these videos is that regardless if it's luxury or not, starting a business does cost some money. And when you are starting your business or when you are starting your social media platforms, you are very tempted to buy things because you think it's gonna help you grow your business. And a lot of times it can help you grow your business, but that doesn't mean that every single purchase is actually useful. And so that's why in today's video, I really wanna share some purchases that I made that I kind of regret making in hopes that maybe you guys can have some second thoughts before you throw that money down on new equipment or new services or whatever for your business. Now, obviously, as a mini disclaimer, some of the purchases that I've made might be really awesome purchases for you, but it just didn't work out for me. So just keep that in mind, that everything that I'm mentioning, it doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad product, but it just means that it didn't work out for me. Now, on top of everything, before we begin, I also want to put a little note that if you are someone who entered my giveaway, and I talked about the giveaway in this video right here, make sure you stay until the very end of this video because I'm actually going to be announcing who won that giveaway, specifically who won my YouTube equipment. So make sure you stay until the very end of the video to find out if you won or not, especially if you entered the giveaway. Not only this, before we dive in, we obviously, as always, have some important shout outs that are in order. So let's dive right into it. Before we dive into this week's awesome video, we want to shout out the comment and YouTube channel of the week. Thank you so much for leaving these kind messages onto last week's video. Not only this, we also want to shout out the Instagram story and profile of the week as well. Thank you again for shouting out our videos. Now, if you're watching this and you're wondering, how can I get featured in the next video? It's very simple. Number one, you could either leave a comment below on this video, or you can take a picture of this video and share it with your audience on Instagram. Just don't forget to tag me. Now, with that out of the way, let's just dive right into this week's video. All right, so the very first purchase that I regret making in my business is buying fancy email marketing software when I didn't really need it at the stage that I was at in my business. Specifically, I bought software called Drip. Now, Drip is an amazing, very robust, one of the best email marketing platforms out there. And if you are someone that has like a 6-figure business and you have, a lot of sales coming in and out and you really need a solid customer relation management system, Drip is gonna be perfect for you. But it's not for you if you are just starting out in your business and all you need to do is send your freaking lead magnet or your freebies to your list. If you're at the stage where you're just sending lead magnets, you're probably better off using something like MailChimp or ConvertKit. And ConvertKit is actually the one that I recommend to a lot of my own students in the Boss Gram Academy. It's the exact one where I really dive deep into to help them create their funnels and everything like that. But you're a lot better off using something like MailChimp, ConvertKit, or even another one called MailerLite. Like, these are the ones that might be better off suited for you if you are just starting out in your business. Versus email marketing software like Drip or ActiveCampaign, which is what we use now. These are a little bit more expensive because they have really awesome analytical features, lead scoring features, features that help you track sales in your funnel, features that help you build really robust funnels. Like, that's really great. But if you're just starting out, you don't need to spend a lot of money on robust email marketing software. And I highly recommend just sticking with things that, are a little bit not as expensive. Now, if you ever want to switch, you can always switch. And if anything, a lot of these email marketing providers, for example, when I switched from Drip to ConvertKit and ConvertKit to ActiveCampaign later on in my business, there's always a service that they provide to help you do the migration, sometimes for free and sometimes for a little bit of a cost. But regardless, it's not as bad as you make it sound like in your head. So for me, in my case, I was using Drip for a very long time, for maybe like 6 months in my business. I had an email list of like 30,000 at that point. I was spending like $500 a month with Drip just to have that email list, just to send freebies and nothing else. I had no robust funnels. And I thought for the longest time that I couldn't switch to ConvertKit or I couldn't switch to something else because it would just be a headache. But it turned out that it was one of the most seamless processes ever. So when I switched from Drip to ConvertKit, people on the ConvertKit team literally helped me migrate everything for free. They helped me go into my WordPress, fix all my lead magnets, do everything like that. And it was a very, very seamless process. And the same thing when I switched from ConvertKit to ActiveCampaign later on in my business. So I just want to make sure that you guys know, if you are finding that your email marketing provider is really expensive and you're not actually capitalizing on all of the features that it offers, you can downgrade. And if you ever want to upgrade again, like I did in my business, you absolutely can do that too. But just know, when you're starting out in your business, if you're only sending freebies and you don't have any crazy, sales funnels going on, you don't need a very expensive email marketing software. Now, on top of that, as a little bonus, because I actually hadn't written this down in my script to even talk about this, but now that I'm talking about email marketing providers, another thing that I regret doing, and it's kind of like a purchase in a way, is I regret keeping subscribers in my list for way too long. And so I was at a place where I was like, oh, look at me, I have like 30,000 people on my email list. I'm so important, and look at this crazy vanity metric. But the reality was like 10,000 of those 30,000 people weren't even opening my emails. And so when you're looking at your email marketing provider, you're paying per subscriber. So if you have 30,000 subscribers, it's this much. If you have 10,000 more subscribers, it's this much. The price is based on how many subscribers that you have. And so if 30% of your subscribers aren't even opening your emails in the last 30 days or the last 60 days of you sending emails to them, you should probably delete those subscribers. And that's actually something that we do in our business now, is every quarter we do a cleanse. We tell ActiveCampaign, okay, who hasn't opened any of my emails in the last 60 days? If they haven't opened it, delete them off the list, because I don't want to keep paying for them, right? I don't want my list to grow to 100,000 people if 50% of those people aren't even opening my emails. My cost per month is gonna go through the roof because I'm paying for people who aren't even opening my emails. So make sure that you don't hold on to those vanity metrics, and you really look at your analytics and understand how many cold subscribers that you have. And if you have a lot of cold subscribers, or if you have any cold subscribers at all, to remove them from your list, because you don't wanna pay for people who aren't even opening your emails. And of course, as a little FYI, just a little business tip, is that before you actually remove your subscribers and delete them, do a little campaign, do a little re-engagement campaign, send a last email to those cold subscribers and ask them, hey, click here if you want to stay on the list. So just kind of do a last, re-engagement campaign. See who's actually gonna open your emails if you explicitly tell them, hey, I've noticed that you haven't opened my emails in a while. If you don't click this, or if you don't take this action, then I'm just gonna remove you. And you might be able to actually re-engage a couple people. So I just wanna put that as a little bonus business tip for any of you guys who are like, oh, 50% of my list actually isn't opening emails. So instead of just deleting them straight up, just email them one last time and tell them explicitly, hey, I haven't, heard from you in a while. So if you don't click on this button, then, I'm gonna delete you off my list. Bye-bye. All right, moving on to the second purchase that I regret making in my business. And this one is actually gonna shock a lot of you, because many of you have this item. I don't have it with me, otherwise I would show it to you, but it is the Blue Yeti. I regret buying this microphone so much, and I have a feeling it's probably a really great microphone. Maybe I wasn't using it properly, maybe I didn't have the settings on correctly, but I basically never really used this microphone, and when I did use this microphone, it just sounded terrible. And I'm not sure if it's because I was using this platform called Zoom to record a lot of the things on this microphone, and Zoom has a tendency to kind of distort the audio a little bit. I just never got good use out of this microphone, and I ended up upgrading to this microphone right here, which is the Shure SM7B, I think is what it's called. This is a really expensive microphone, but I just never got good use out of the Blue Yeti. Now, another reason why I really regret buying this microphone is that I didn't really need this microphone, and I was also very misinformed. I didn't do a lot of research. So as you know, I started my business off as a YouTuber. I don't have a podcast yet. My podcast is launching in March, but I did start off as a YouTuber, and I thought that the Blue Yeti, I'd be able to connect with my camera and film on the Blue Yeti. And I looked at YouTube videos, and they said that that you could. But for me, I just could never figure out how to use it. And instead, I ended up buying lav mics or shotgun mics instead. And these mics are much suited for video, like video marketing and doing videos for YouTube. Whereas the Blue Yeti is probably really great for podcasts and maybe meetings. But even then, for a lot of my client meetings, I never used my Yeti, and instead I used my Apple earphones, the ones that you could connect into your computer. You know, that's what I used. And even with the Blue Yeti, when I was using it to deliver Bossgram Academy for the very first time, and by the way, this is my paid program, the very first time that I ever ran Bossgram Academy, I tried using my Blue Yeti to film a lot of my course materials, and I still got complaints from my students saying that the audio wasn't great. And it wasn't until I switched to the old school Apple earphones where people were finally satisfied with the audio. And so for me, this was a huge flop because I never got good use out of it. I probably maybe didn't use it properly, and I bought it for the wrong reasons. I bought it thinking that it would be great for YouTube, but it just never was used for YouTube, and I ended up having to buy lav mics and shotgun mics instead. All right, now on to the third purchase that I made for my business that I kind of regret making, and this one's kind of hard for me to admit, is my 16-inch MacBook Pro. And I bought this very recently after I bought the 15-inch. And honestly, I really love this laptop. The audio, the speakers, everything, the screen, it's just game changing. And if you are a solopreneur and you work at coffee shops and you live the laptop lifestyle, I really think that this is an awesome laptop because it kind of gives you that desktop feel. It's massive. But for me, I realized that it wasn't really necessary for me to upgrade to the 16-inch because I literally have a monitor right here and I barely use the laptop itself when it's plugged into my monitor. So in terms of my home office, I don't really need a 16-inch. And because I have a home office, I don't go to coffee shops as much as I used to. I don't work outside of my office as I used to. And so I don't really get good use out of this. Now, why this made it to the list, and this is actually a very recent revelation, it wasn't until I went to LA. So I went to LA for a business trip. It was to meet up with people that are in the same business mastermind as me. And I didn't realize how heavy this laptop is and how non-travel friendly this is and how ridiculous I looked when I opened it up at my mastermind and like everyone has their like cute little iPad Pros or their cute little MacBook Airs or their cute, compact laptops or notebooks. And here's me with like my 16-inch taking up all this space on the table just to take notes during someone's presentation. I just realized that this isn't really travel friendly, especially if you do business meetings and stuff. And I think that if I could go back in time, maybe I would get, the little MacBook Air or like the smaller version of a laptop so that I can take it out on business trips. Because truth be told, for me, I don't really use the laptop itself because I have a monitor. Now, if you're someone who needs a laptop, I definitely think the 16-inch is an awesome choice because it gives you that desktop feel, especially if you're doing a lot of video editing and you need a lot of space because you actually get 1 TB of space in this MacBook. I think it'd be a perfect solution for you. But for someone who has a very similar lifestyle to me, this probably isn't really worth the money because it's a very expensive laptop. All right, moving on to the next business purchase that I regret making. And this is also a recent one, and that is hiring expensive people to do inexpensive tasks. Okay, and so what I mean by this is I realized that it's not efficient to hire people to do tasks that are not really revenue generating. So in my business, for the longest time, I was like, oh my gosh, like let's use my Facebook group as an example. Back then when it was like a gong show in my Facebook group. So in my free Facebook group back then, before I rebranded it and switched it over to turn your followers into clients, it used to be called Fearless Boss Network. And in that group, for the longest time, I spent a lot of time like moderating. I spent a lot of time, engaging. And when I say engaging, I don't mean actually engaging. I mean just being like, good job, Cheryl, or way to go, Laura, like saying those comments like that. And it took up a lot of time in my business. And because it took up a lot of time in my business, I automatically thought that, oh, I need to hire someone to help me with these tasks because it's taking up too much time. But what I should have asked myself is, why is this taking up so much time? And is this even a revenue generating activity? Because commenting on people's things saying good job or welcome or hi isn't necessarily revenue generating at all in your business, especially if you're not actually having a sales conversation or you're not actually having a conversation to get to know your prospects better. And another thing that's not revenue generating is just like constantly trying to do moderation and like doing all these little admin tasks. Now, obviously you can hire someone to do that, but before you spend $25 an hour, $20 an hour to hire someone to do that task, you really need to ask yourself, is this task even necessary in your business? Don't hire people just because something takes a lot of time. Hire people because the tasks that need to be done actually contribute back to your business. There's a difference. There's a major difference between me hiring someone that is going to act as a community manager to just say hi to people and just say thanks to people and just say, you're a rock star to people, versus hiring someone who will use my team account in my Facebook group to actually have conversations to get more information from our prospects, more information from our members. Switching from saying, congrats, Cheryl, to being like, Cheryl, like, tell me more about your business. Tell me more about what you're struggling with. Ah, that's so interesting. Have you heard of XYZ from Vanessa's program? Or have you heard of whatever? That is a revenue generating activity, not just engaging with people for the sake of engaging with people. And so I really regret spending money hiring people to do tasks that aren't even that relevant in my business. And another thing is when it goes back to hiring expensive people to do inexpensive tasks, especially if you start having a bigger team. So for example, I have some people that are getting paid, you know, and these are random numbers, like $50 an hour versus other people who are getting paid $10 an hour. When people are getting paid certain things and you tell them to do certain things, you have to really put the right person to do the right tasks. So for example, I'm not gonna get my $50 an hour person to do admin stuff in my business because that's actually costing me $50 an hour just for someone to fix punctuation in an email copy that someone wrote. You know, that is not a good use of resources. Paying someone $50 to do copy editing versus actually paying someone $10 an hour or $15 an hour to do copy editing. Now that makes sense. So that was also some mistakes that I made in my business is I was making my $50 an hour person do things that were actually worth $10 an hour. And so that is a huge disconnect of resource allocation, especially when you start having teammates. And that's something that I just recently realized I was doing. And shame on me because that's a huge waste of money to get someone who's getting paid a lot more to do things that, you know, shouldn't cost $50 an hour to do. But anyways, as a recap, because I feel like, you know, this particular topic is just so important, is number one, before you hire people to do certain tasks that you think are time consuming, really ask yourself if that task is even gonna be beneficial to your business. Is it beneficial to hire someone just to say hi to people? No. But is it beneficial to hire someone to actually have conversations with people? Yes, that's a revenue generating activity. Is it beneficial to have someone that technically is getting paid $50 an hour to edit email copy? No. But is it efficient to have someone who gets paid $10 an hour to do that? Yes. So that's kind of the recap that I want to give you guys when it comes to hiring team members, is really do those spot checks and make sure that your money resources are being allocated properly to tasks that are generating revenue or to tasks that actually cost that much to do in your business. Now, on to the next thing that I regret purchasing or investing in my business, and that is annual subscriptions. Oh my gosh, I am a huge fan of monthly plans when it comes to software, when it comes to everything. And the reason why is because for the longest time, you know, a lot of these companies tell you to do annual because you get some savings on there, and it's true, you will get a lot of savings if you end up going on the annual plan. But when you go on the annual plan, you're also locked in for those 12 months. And so the problem that I encountered is I had invested annual plans for a couple of software pieces, and midway through or quarter way through, I realized that I wanted to switch softwares. But I had already paid for the annual plan. And so now I'm a huge fan of any software that I get. I always do monthly, unless it's something that I know for sure I'm gonna use for the whole year. But for a lot of times, it's very unlikely that I even know if I'm gonna use a software for that long. And the reason why is because you might be using that software and realize that there's better software out there. Or very similar to my email marketing example, you might realize that you've outgrown certain software, or that, you know, you could get other software for cheaper, right? And so you don't wanna be locked in for a whole year year. And that's why whenever you are doing, software investments, just try to do the monthly plan until, maybe after a whole year of using that software or after a long period of time, you realize that this software is essential in your business. It's something that you want to be loyal to. And that's when you want to do the annual plan. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions. There are some software that you can invest in that is a no-brainer to the annual plan, and that's totally okay. But I'm talking about course membership platforms, email marketing software, contract software, invoicing software, all these different types of software. Like, really do the monthly plan first before committing the whole year, because you never know if you're gonna switch midway through. All right, now on to the next purchase that I regret making in my business, and I have it right here right now, and it is a gimbal. Oh my goodness, this is a huge waste of money for me. This was like $400, I think, and I never ever used it. And the reason why is because it is a pain in the ass to set up. Like, I still don't know how to use this. And so I think it's a learning lesson here. So I was at a place, and I am at a place, where I was like, oh my God, I want to upgrade my equipment. I want to do all these things. I want to be all pro and stuff. And I figured that a gimbal would be really, really cool, because I know that Sean Cannell over at Think Media talks about gimbals a lot. A lot of the pro YouTubers and pro videographers, they're always talking about their gimbals and how much they love it, especially for vlog content and travel content and everything like that. And so when I went to LA, I really wanted to vlog my experience in my mastermind for you guys. And so I decided, hey, maybe I should get this gimbal and everything like that. What I didn't realize with gimbals is how hard it is to use. You literally have to, set up your camera on this little contraption here, and you have to learn to balance the camera, and it's just a mess. Like, an average person who isn't a pro videographer will not know how to use a gimbal. And I have realized that I am not pro. And I don't think that I have the desire to be a pro photographer, a pro videographer, or everything like that. I am happy with what I have now, and I'm a very basic person. I am not tech savvy when it comes to this kind of stuff. And so I feel like I was playing a little bit out of my league here when I bought the gimbal. And it was just so heavy. I was never able to get it to properly assemble, even when I asked for help from other people. This was just such a flop for me, and I really don't recommend you buying a gimbal unless you're someone who is like pro. And I'm not pro. And so I wouldn't recommend the gimbal for those of you who are just looking for basic vlogging and you're not a pro photographer, you're not a pro videographer. You don't need a gimbal. It's kind of overkill. And so for me, after doing some research, talking to some friends, this is what I'm gonna buy instead for basic vlogging when I go traveling. I'm gonna be getting the DJI Osmo Pocket. This is a very small, compact video camera that does 4K quality. It acts very similar to a gimbal, but it's just mini size. And I feel like this is something that would fit my lifestyle a lot better. This is something that I can put in my purse. This is something that just seems really plug and play. And that's kind of the main lesson that I learned through buying equipment, is just understanding where I'm at, what I'm looking for, what my lifestyle is, and where my technical skills are, and just honoring that. I'm just realizing that I love using equipment that's plug and play. I don't like anything that has the fancy frills, things that are gonna be hard to set up, things that are gonna be complicated. And I also have to realize that I need to stop trying to compare myself with like very pro travel vloggers. I'm not even creating that type of content, so it's not even necessary for me to invest in all of these crazy equipments that I probably don't even know how to use. Or if I use, I'll only use like one feature of all the 50 features that that equipment can provide. Now, so far in this video, I've gone through my top 5, I think we did 5 today, of some purchases and investments that I kind of regret making in my business. Some of them are old mistakes that I made, and some of them are recent mistakes that I made. So I would love for you to comment below and tell me what is one purchase that you regret making in your business. I feel like if we share that, then other people can feed off of that, and we'll be able to make better purchasing decisions in our business. Not only this, the moment that you have been waiting for those of you who entered my giveaway right here, I'm about to announce the winner. Now, the winner of this giveaway is Desire Lou. Desire Lou, thank you so much for entering our giveaway. I'm so excited for you. I cannot wait for you to use the equipment that I have and put it to good use for your YouTube channel. My team has already emailed you, so make sure you check your email so that you can claim your gift. Thank you to all of you who have entered the giveaway. It was my very first international giveaway, and I'm just so glad that I was able to really pass down my equipment to someone else who really needs it for their channel. Anyways, congratulations once again to Desire Lou. And for those of you who are waiting for next week's video, make sure you check out these two videos that I have right here as well. As always, this channel talks about social media, marketing, coaching, entrepreneurship, all those different things. So make sure you check out these two videos I have here as well. As always, guys, I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, and a great life, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.